everyone! With the holiday season upon us, I thought it would be fun to try something creative and festive with our photography. So today we're going to dive into the magical world of zoom burst photography with Christmas tree lights. So zoom burst photography is a technique that creates a dynamic and mesmerizing effect by zooming in or out while taking a long exposure shot. And what better subject than the twinkling lights of a Christmas tree? So before we get started, let's cover the requirements for this experiment. So number one, you'll definitely need a tripod or a stable surface since we'll be working with long exposure times. Number two is if you have a remote shutter release, then that would be recommended to help reduce camera shake and blur in your photo. But if you don't have one, then don't worry, just use your camera's self-timer to start the exposure with minimum camera shake. And number three is you're going to need a Christmas lights or some other light source. So if you have a twinkling Christmas tree light, then I'd recommend setting them to a static non-twinkly mode to help keep your exposure settings as constant as possible. And lastly, you'll need a camera with a zoom lens or zoom functionality. The longer the zoom range, the longer your light rays will be. Alright, so I'm in front of my Christmas tree and ready to go. So I just want to start off very basic. I'm just going to set my camera to shutter priority with auto ISO and a 6-second shutter speed. Okay, here we go. Let's just take our first shot. And now while the image is being exposed, I'm just going to rotate my lens to zoom in. Okay, so what about focus? So in our first shots, we were in focus on the Christmas tree lights. So what if we are out of focus with blurry blobs of light? So I'm going to set my camera to manual focus and then I'm going to have the lights go out of focus. Now what happens if we do focus to unfocused? Focused to unfocused. So I want to see what the effect of the zoom direction is, if it zooms out versus zooming in. So for the next test, I want to actually have my focal point fixed for a certain period of time and then zoom for the remaining period. So for more detail in the image, I want to shoot a longer fixed time and a shorter time zooming. Similarly, for more explosion and less detail, you want to spend more time zooming and less time fixed. So I'm going to have my focal point fixed on an ornament and we're going to set that static for 4 seconds and then the remaining 2 seconds I'm going to be zooming outward. One, two, three, four. And then for another variation, I'm going to split the exposure 3 ways. I'm going to try fix, zooming, and then fix. Let's do it a little more crazy. Let's zoom and defocus. Sharp focus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to zoom. 105, and then I'm going to throw off the focus. Alright, so that was just my brief experiments with zoom burst photography with Christmas lights. There's a whole bunch of other things you can do. You can wobble your camera, you can rotate your camera during the long exposure, many different things you can try. If you think you have a good idea, leave me a comment and we'll see if we can try it out. Thank you.